borders of Israel and in the occupied territories face institutionalized discrimination, land theft, house demolitions, restrictions on movement, mass arrests, and severe repression for political dissent. The situation in Gaza is particularly dire, with a 16-year siege destroying the economy and frequent bombing campaigns by Israeli occupiers. The struggle for national liberation is one that Palestine has been going through long before October 7th. Walter Rodney, a Guyanese Marxist, argues that national oppression, such as colonialism, removes people from their process of historical development by stripping them of power. Colonialization effectively removes a people from history by denying them the ability to act independently and shape their own futures. Recognizing Palestine through this lens allows for a deeper understanding. The Palestinian people have struggled to address social and economic development issues in their communities, and this is solely due to the oppression imposed by Israel, which limits their ability to plan infrastructure, invest in social and cultural development, engage in politics, and control their own economy. To address these challenges and exert their independence, Palestinians must first achieve national liberation by overturning their reality of national oppression. It's important to remember that despite differing ideologies within national liberation movements, the primary focus remains on fighting against the oppressor. Political differences between groups within the movement are set aside until after national liberation is achieved. Despite what corporate media wants you to believe, the reality is that Israel's actions are not just a Hamas-Israel war, but a broader conflict with the Palestinian national liberation movement. The role of the U.S. for Palestine is a crucial one. The U.S. government contributes to the oppression of Palestinians through its unwavering support for Israel, making it crucial for the Palestine solidarity movement in the U.S. to take a stand. The movement's role is to support Palestinians in their fight against colonialism and allow them their right to determine their own future. The interconnection between the capitalist class that profits from oppressing Palestinians and creating poverty in the U.S. proves that the two struggles are linked. Building solidarity internationally is crucial in confronting this common enemy and strengthening the working class movement globally. The U.S. government portrays itself as the world's policeman and uses propaganda to convince Americans that it is their duty to intervene in the affairs of other nations, which ultimately benefits U.S. imperialism and undermines the progress of social movements in oppressed countries. But the cracks in the propaganda are fed daily through mainstream media are showing. The global community is increasingly recognizing Israel's actions as those of a terrorist regime. It is now the responsibility of the working class in the United States to establish a movement that directs their growing discontent towards discontinuing our government's support and military assistance to maintain the Zionist state. It's our duty to call out injustice when we see it and take action. The last 6 months in Anchorage have shown that we support the Palestinian community, and we will continue to support them. PSL Anchorage appreciates everyone who has shown up to protests and assembly meetings, and we want you all to know that your presence makes a difference. Thank you.
I could speak.
Thank you, Cynthia. Up next, we have Mice ready to speak. So thanks again for coming out. When they're ready, I'll be passing the microphone off. But it is important to come out and support. We get asked all the time, like, what do these protests do? You know what I mean? But it's one thing. It's like one step in a larger process of changing America to be more supportive of indigenous rights and social causes in general. It starts here, but obviously the protest is just the beginning. It takes the community, and I'll be passing the microphone off.
Hi everyone, my name is Mice. I'm with PSI, also known as Palestine Solidarity Initiative. I'm a Palestinian American and a child of immigrants. I'm ashamed to claim being American, especially today, and living on this land as I see the same thing happening to my people. I grew up listening to the history of my grandparents and their parents getting displaced and then coming back to Palestine because they didn't want to leave their land for Israeli Zionists to take over. I listened to the stories of discrimination that my family back home still experiences. And as a child, going back home was exciting, but I always knew it wasn't supposed to be that way. The IOF roamed the streets with their military weapons like it was normal. My family in the West Bank had to jump through hoops to come visit us with military checkpoints keeping them from freely entering their land. This is all to say that this didn't start on October 7th. We all know that. These excuses are to justify white supremacy and colonialism. And we are still standing here 6 months later. Why haven't we called for a ceasefire? I'm tired of seeing children and their families die. They're treating us like animals. And if this was the other way around, it would just not be happening, period. Our local politicians are not listening and are not a representation of their constituents. They say they don't want to cause division within the local community while we have a race of people being wiped from existence. I want to see our Palestine free of oppression, and I will not stop until we end white colonialism in all of its forms, because we cannot keep repeating history. Keep fighting, being local, because they need us. The resistance is the only hope that they have for survival. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple more speakers. I believe next would be Erica. But as Mike said, yeah, we know for a fact that our local leaders are useless in every regard. I see a lot of faces that come to these events, and if you've been to the assembly meetings, you know how just incompetent or willfully ignorant they are, just in general about
and Braga
issues,
knows
but
Palestinians.
especially about what's going on in Palestine. So I think if anything that I've learned is that we need to just get them out. We need leaders that actually represent the people of Anchorage and their wishes. And that's just one thing that I believe everyone who has been doing an assembly meeting has seen from them, that they do not represent anyone here in Anchorage. So Erica, we'll be passing it off.
I can speak as well.
Before I speak in front of all of you, I want to humbly thank each and every being here today. I want to thank the ground that all our feet are planted on, our ancestors seen and unseen. We don't need to invite them here. We brought them here with us. Uvanga Puruk Panangona, Ananaga Dorothy Panangona, Adataga Thomas Panangona, Akaga Clarissa Panangona, Apaga Naeem Khan, Utkiakadak Mute Urala. My name is Erica Puruk Khan. I am a Pakistani and Alaska Native Inuit from Utqiagvik, Alaska. There's a lot that I wish we could say and talk about today. But for now, I'm here to remind all of us the responsibility we owe to the Palestinian people. Anchorage Assembly members, they gave us a civic lesson. They said things like, I don't think the people of Gaza care about what Alaskans care or think. They said things like, why don't you guys do more things than show up to the assembly meeting? But here we are today. Despite the many of us that have shown up today, there's still many that are unaware or rather deactivated in their critical thinking because they feel triggered. They feel triggered when we boycott Starbucks. They feel triggered when we boycott McDonald's. They feel triggered because they don't have their cognitive dissonance. Water, houselessness, and resources. These are just a few things that are parallel to the indigenous peoples of Alaska, our history. While the state of Alaska funds annually $7.1 million tax dollars annually to fund the genocide of Palestinians, 32 villages in the state of Alaska don't have running water. 32 villages in the state of Alaska do not have running water. And we're sending 7.1 million annual tax dollars to fund the genocide of Palestinians. That's disheartening. Anchorage Assembly members also said, why don't we show up for houselessness, but fail to recognize our monies are funding houselessness in Palestine. And as a result, we don't have a resolution for houselessness here. Again, the political leaders of Alaska failed to recognize that 7.1 million annual of our tax dollars fund the genocide of Palestinians, threatening their water and their food. Well, that money could be used if political leaders in Alaska actually cared. I spoke to an elder of Nooksit, Alaska, and I asked her what she thinks about what's happening to their village right now. This was just last month, in February. I asked her, how is your homes and how is the village right now? If you guys are unaware, the Willow Project is exploiting oil right now with explosives in their gravel by the ConocoPhillips and also their regional corporation. She stated, the elder of Nooksit stated, what can we do about it? It's either we go to jail or we go into war. That's what she stated last month about the Willow Project. And if you're unaware, the Willow Project will require 4.2 million cubic yards of gravel, more than 12,800 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of rocks for its 3 oil drilling pads, as well as gravel will come from a 144-acre mine ConocoPhillips will dig itself. That is happening in the northern region of Alaska right now. These issues are parallel to Palestinians. They don't have a choice. They don't have any say about their extraction of resources because they don't see their land as a resource. They see their land as a relationship. They see their land as a relationship, and that is the similarity between the indigenous peoples of Alaska and Palestine. It is also not new, as other speakers have stated, about the famine that's occurring. This is a forced starvation. It's not a famine. It's a forced starvation. We have Zionists blocking food aid trucks from entering Gaza right now. They're blocking aid trucks right now. This is a forced starvation. So we owe our responsibility to the Palestinian people to have those hard conversations with our family members, with our friends, with our community, with strangers. We owe that to ourselves for the uncomfortability, the discomfort that happens in those conversations. We owe it to the 37 mothers that are killed each day from the Israeli military. We owe it to the 63 women on average that are killed each day from the Israeli military. All the children that have been killed in the last 6 months, then 4 years in a global war. We are doing it for them. I'll share what a Palestinian woman shared to her assembly members. It was on PTSD. There is no pre or post trauma for the Palestinian people. Trauma in Palestine is colonial, continuous, collective, cumulative, and cross-generational. It reverberates into every domain of Palestinian life, health, identity, culture, and economy. We owe it to the Palestinian people. Kuyanuk, thank you.
Thanks, Erica. We're going to give it off to Bay, and we have 2 more speakers. I think that would make the second to last speaker. But I believe Erica mentioned how I think it was Assembly Member Bronga said that we should be doing more things like town halls. Well, what she doesn't know, I guess, is that we already have done a town hall. We have a town hall planned in the future for Palestine. They don't even care to see what y'all think, to what the citizens of Anchorage think. So they're not even doing their jobs properly. I want to hand it off to Bay.
And Karen Bronga has zero excuses because she knows Palestinians. She's friends with my mom. She skied against my mom in high school. My mom's Palestinian from occupied 1948. Her dad knew my grandpa, who's Palestinian from occupied 1948 Palestine. So she has zero excuses at this point.
None of them do. I think if anything, the Assembly has shown that they have absolute no regard for what the citizens of Anchorage say, believe. You would think that an Assembly would be happy for so many people to be showing up way more than they ever get at the Assembly meetings. But they clearly do not care about democracy or public input. I'm going to pass it off to Bay, and then we'll have Aisha speak once more, and I think that'll be about it.
Hello everyone. I am rejuvenated by being here with all of you that decided to show up. And I express my gratitude to all who have chosen to join us here. While I could introduce myself, my identity holds little relevance at this moment. Like many others, I have grappled with overwhelming guilt for simply having access to basic necessities like food, water, and shelter, while others endure the horrors of genocide. And I recognize that this guilt can be paralyzing and detrimental to this collective cause. So I have come to realize that the antidote lies in transcending my individualism. To carry Palestine in me wherever I go, in every breath, in every sip of water, in every bite of food, in every glimmer of joy that sneaks in only when I'm in the right mood. I carry Palestine in me means that I'm not living my life for me anymore. My life is not mine anymore. I must live for them, breathe for them, preserve my strength for their sake, protect my life for them, to feed my body and quest my thirst for them, to integrate this cause, this noble and all-encompassing of all causes in this life, in my life. Their death will not be in vain. Their starvation will not be in vain. Their homelessness will not be in vain. Their suffering will not be in vain. Palestine will most definitely be free from the river to the sea. Whether the people in power like it or not, whether they back it or not, regardless of them, it will be free. So ground in this knowing, this certainty transcends hope. It transcends a maybe or a potential. With convictions, know that this is affirmed. So as you are standing here on this stolen sacred land, hold that knowing deep in you. Carry Palestine deep in you and integrate it into every crevice of your life. This movement is not merely for today, but for generations to come. Palestine, you are awakening the earth. You are the symbol that represents the deepest parts of humanity. You are the soul of all of our souls. Your blood will forever be honored. The blood that tore down the fabric of this reality. Palestine, you give me courage. You give me strength. You teach me resilience. You teach me life. You are forever in my heart, in the soul of all of our souls. So let this divine courage you have, Palestine, be firmly rooted in all of our hearts, guiding our thoughts and actions now and forever. In our daily lives, let us wield our power by consciously directing our spending away from entities complicit in this genocide, to ensure that our money does not support oppression. And since that's what the people in power care most about, above all else, above the sanctity of your human life, the message you are sending by redirecting where you spend your money is a message that rings loud in their ears. So when you are not protesting, calling your representatives, when you are prepping iftar or dinner with your family, when you are prepping your morning coffee or bathing before work, make sure you are not using or buying or supporting anything that is financing this genocide. And to make it easier for you, a Palestinian developer named Ahmed Bashbash, living currently in Palestine, made us all an app we can use. So everyone get out your phones, I'll wait. Get
I'm
out
gonna
your
pause
phones.
the video right here.